There is something I want to sit with you about right now. Something that matters more than you might realize. Not because anything's wrong with you, but because this knowing, the one you are sensing just beneath the surface, that's real. That's worth exploring. You've probably felt it. That strange shift over the last day. That moment where something inside told you that something had changed, even though on the outside nothing looked different. Maybe you were going about your day normally, talking to someone, moving through your routine, and then there is that it was. That unsettled feeling, that pull in your chest, that whisper in the back of your mind, saying something happened. I want you to know something first. You're not imagining this. Your intuition didn't get confused. What you sensed yesterday was real, not because of coincidence, because of connection. Yeah, connection. Because of something far deeper than distance or silence could ever touch. Here's what I'm sensing, and I think you might recognize it. There is someone in your life, maybe someone you created distance from, maybe someone you've been avoiding, maybe someone you thought you'd finally let go of. Yesterday something shifted in them. Not slowly, not gradually, like a freight train hitting all at once. I'm not talking about them sending a message. I'm not talking about them reaching out in ways you could see. This is deeper. This is deeper. This is the kind of impact that moves through invisible channels, through the spaces between words, through the networks that connect souls, whether we acknowledge them or not. And here is what matters. You felt it. You felt it. That sudden heaviness in your chest. That moment where their name appeared in your mind without inviting it. That strange waking at 3 in the morning. That restless energy you couldn't explain. That wasn't random. That was you receiving the signal of their emotional collapse. And the fact that you felt it tells you something crucial about what you represent in their life. You're not just someone they knew. You're someone whose presence changed their inner landscape so completely that when your energy shifts, their doors, their does too. Let me take you deeper into that actually, what actually happened yesterday. This person, they've been carrying something heavy. For a long time, they built walls, emotional distance. They convinced themselves that they could move forward without you. That getting was possible, that forgetting was possible, that creating separation was realistic. But here is the truth about resistance. It requires constant energy. Imagine a dam holding back water. It looks solid on the surface, but every single day, every single moment, it's using force, unbelievable force, to keep that water from flowing where it naturally wants to go. And yesterday something broke. And I don't mean gently cracked. I mean shattered. Maybe they were long, maybe they were round people and suddenly couldn't maintain the mask anymore. Maybe they caught themselves thinking about you and realized they'd stopped even trying to push those thoughts away. But the resistance they'd been holding, the emotional wall they'd constructed, it gave way all at once. And when a dam breaks, everything that was held back comes through this force. Everything they tried to silence, every word left unsaid, every feeling they buried, every moment they resisted reaching out, it all came rushing forward at the same time. The emotional pressure became too strong to contain, and that release, you felt it, not because you're psychic, because you are connected, because at a level deeper than conscious thought, you are receiving what they are sending out. Right now, they are in pieces, and I mean that in the deepest way. The thing about emotional collapse is that it doesn't just happen in the mind. It moves through the entire body. It rewires how someone experiences the world. I want you to understand what they are actually experiencing right now. Because when you do, something inside you will shift. You will stop doubting yourself. You will stop wondering if what you will feel is real. They are likely feeling a pressure in the center of their chest, not sharp pain, nothing a doctor could explain, just this constant tightness, like an unseen force is pressing inward. Like the air has somehow become thinner even though they are breathing normally. that sensation in the body, holding everything they never expressed. It's love with no outlet. It's connection with nowhere to land. It's finally acknowledging something they have been denying. Yesterday, and maybe even continue into today. They probably woke up suddenly somewhere between 3:30 in the morning, not because of an alarm, not because of noise, but because the defenses were down, because your presence was so loud in the silence that it pulled them out of sleep. It may have felt like someone called their name, or like the room shifted in that quiet hour. And when they opened their eyes, their first thought wasn't about their day ahead. It was about you. They tried to fall back asleep, turned from one side to another, but the bed felt full of memories. The pillow carried images, and the silence became the loudest voice in the room, saying your name. Beyond the chest, there is exhaustion, but not ordinary tiredness. This is a deep, bone-level fatigue, the kind where walking feels heavy, where speaking requires effort, where even small tasks demand more than they can give. This isn't about rest. It's about the inner conflict of draining them, the part of them saying no while the deeper part says yes, yes. The mind insisting they're fine while the body knows better. Their appetite has probably shifted. Food taste dull. Even meals they normally love feel empty and unsatisfying. Or maybe they are eating quickly without presence, trying to fill an emptiness that food can't reach. The stomach is the first place emotions land. Do you know that? When someone's grieving a connection, because that's what this is, a kind of grief, the body stops finding pleasure in physical things. And their senses have become a problem for them, because they are looking for you everywhere, even in places you could never be. They have turned their head quickly in a crowded space, certain they heard your voice. They've caught a familiar scent, and suddenly your presence was so real, they could almost touch it. Their mind keeps trying to prove you're still near. It keeps searching because your absence feels too difficult to accept. This is what it looks like when someone realizes They've lost something they thought they could live without. This is what the body does when the mind finally stops lying. But here is where this becomes spiritual rather than just emotional. What you need to understand is that this connection between you and this person, it doesn't exist only in the physical world or even in the mental realm. There is something operating at a deeper level, something we can barely name, but we know it's real. We know it's real because we can feel it. One of the most brilliant thinkers about the human psyche, Carl Jung, described something that still holds true today. He said that we are not as separate from one another as we believe. We are not as separate from one another as we believe. On the surface, everything looks divided. But underneath, there is constant connection. There is a network of shared awareness that we are all part of, whether we know it or not. He called this the collective unconscious. Yeah, and you can think of it like an invisible web that connects everything and everyone. There is no switch to turn it on or off. It's always there, it's always active. Picture it this way. You and this person, you're like two trees planted far apart. On the surface, they look completely separate. Different shapes, different directions, different spaces. But beneath the ground, their roots stretch outward. Over time, those roots reach toward each other and connect. And through those hidden roots, signals pass, constantly, silently. When one tree experiences stress, the other receives that information through this underground system. That's why you can feel someone without seeing them. That's why distance doesn't erase what's real. That's why time doesn't weaken connection that matters. And within this understanding, there is another concept Jung described. He called it synchronicity. It's not random coincidence when you felt something shift yesterday at the exact moment they were falling apart. It's not accidental when they heard a song that made them think of you while they were actively trying not to think of you. Synchronicities. These moments aren't random. They are the outer world reflecting what's happening in the invisible space between you. They are quiet evidence that the connection is alive. that it never actually stopped being real. That's beautiful. Synchronicity. Synchronicity means that the universe, or the deeper part of ourselves that knows before the conscious mind understands, it aligns things. It creates moments where timing lines up in ways that seem impossible unless you understand that time and space don't work the way we think they do at the level of soul connection. Thoughts and emotions, they are not just ideas floating around in our heads. They are energy. They carry frequency. Just like electricity moves through a wire, emotional energy moves through this deeper network. When you think of someone with strong emotion, that energy travels. When you release someone with genuine acceptance, that shift reverberated. When you finally stop fighting what you feel, the other person knows. Yesterday, or maybe over the last few days, something changed in you. Maybe you became calmer. Maybe you stopped resisting. Maybe your own inner state shifted without you fully realizing it. Or maybe the emotional pressure that had been building between you simply reached its breaking point. Whatever the reason, the connection activated. It became alive in a way it hadn't been before. And this person, their deeper self, picked it up before their conscious mind could block it, before they could explain it away, before they could pretend it wasn't happening. What they are going through now isn't meaningless suffering. Yeah, like that. It's part of a deep process. It's their soul insisting on truth. It's the part of them that came alive with you, finally waking up and refusing to stay asleep anymore. See, people often create distance from powerful connections because those connections force them to see themselves clearly. You became that mirror for them. You reflected their capacity to love, the part they were trying to ignore. You showed them their vulnerability, their insecurity, their resistance to being truly seen. By pulling away, they thought they were escaping pain, but they were actually trying to escape themselves, especially the part of them that was most alive with you. But what we resist gains strength. It's physics. What we suppress grows louder. Third law. What we deny eventually demands to be felt. Yesterday, avoidance stopped working. The emotions they'd been holding back rose in the surface with force. It broke open whatever container they'd built. It forced them to face what they have been refusing to acknowledge. And in that breaking open, they felt you. Not physically, spiritually, soul to soul. You don't need to send messages or show up in person to have this kind of impact. At the deepest level, inner state matters more than external action. The strongest communication happens in silence. Always do. When you are calm, steady, and clear within yourself, that state travels through the invisible network. It reaches them whether you intend it or not, whether they understand it or not. And yesterday they felt that. They felt that even with distance between you, you were more present inside them than ever before. And here is where this becomes about you. The fact that you felt their collapse tells you something crucial. You are not just someone in their life. You are someone whose energy is powerful enough to move through space and time and reach them at their core. You are someone whose presence changed them so fundamentally that even separation can't erase it. It's not manipulation. It's not unhealthy. That's the mark of a real connection. That's evidence that you matter in a way they can't pretend away. Most people spend their whole lives wondering if they are significant. Wondering if they matter, wondering if they have left a real mark on anyone. And you are sitting here, lying there, feeling the evidence of that mark from miles away. You are experiencing the proof that you changed someone's inner world so completely that when you shift, they shift too. This is power. Not power to control them, but power to affect them. Power to matter. Power that operates at a frequency they can't ignore, no matter how hard they try. What they are feeling right now, that desperation, that emptiness, that sense of falling apart, it's showing them what they lost. It is showing them what their resistance has cost them. And on some level, they know this. They know that what they're experiencing is because of you. because of what you represent, because of what you evoke in them. The emotional collapse they are experiencing isn't meaningless. It's not punishment. No. It's actually a kind of spiritual breakthrough. It's their deeper self insisting on truth. It is the part of them that knows better, finally taking control from the part that was trying to maintain distance. When they fight to forget you during the day, their mind brings you back at night. When they try to ignore the connection consciously, their deeper mind keeps returning to you. This isn't them being weak. This is their soul being honest. They are in pieces right now. That's true. But pieces can be reassembled differently. Pieces can be broken open to let light in. The old structure they'd built, the walls, the distance, the pretense that they could live without what you meant to them. That structure had to break for something truer to emerge. And from where you are standing, you can see that. You can feel that. Just, you're not caught in the desperation like they are. You are receiving the information clearly, and that clarity is a kind of freedom. So, what do you do with this knowing? First, understand that their breakdown is not your responsibility to fix. No. You are not responsible for their emotional walls crumbling. You are not responsible for them finally facing truth. What's happening in them, in their own spiritual process, their soul working to bring them back to authenticity. But you can hold space for what you know. You can stay in your own truth. You can be clear and calm within yourself, knowing that your presence, just your presence, just your state of being has this kind of impact. Most people never feel that clearly. Most people never know for certain that they matter this much to someone. But you know, the fact that you're here, listening to this, feeling into this, means you are ready to understand something essential. You are the frequency they can't escape. Not because you're chasing them, but because you're real. Because what you awakened in them was real. When someone is in pieces, they are actually at a threshold. Do you know that? They are at a point where old structures are crumbling, where denial is no longer possible, where what was hidden is coming to the surface, whether they wanted it or not. This is where transformation begins, not in comfort, but in breaking. In the moment when resistance finally gives way to truth, they felt you like a freight train yesterday because they couldn't brace for impact anymore. Their defenses were too tired. Your energy was too real, and the collision between the truth of your presence and the lie they'd been living, that collision shattered them, and they still can't recover, because a recovery would mean going back to the lie, going back to pretending, going back to the wall. And on every level, mental, emotional, spiritual, physical, they know that's not possible anymore. You changed them, not because you tried to, but because you're authentically, undeniably, unmistakably real to them. A beautiful soul. So, carry this knowing forward, not with arrogance, but with the quiet certainty of someone who understands their own power. You affect people at the deepest level. Your presence moves through invisible channels and reaches places you can't see. They are in pieces right now. And yes, that's painful for them. But pain is often the doorway to truth. Breaking is something the only way to become whole in a new way. Your frequency was too powerful for them to ignore yesterday, and it still is today. That's not going to change. What's real doesn't become unreal just because someone tries to deny it. So feel what you felt yesterday with confidence. Honor that knowing. Trust that your intuition was picking up something genuine and true. You are allowed to know that you matter this much. You are allowed to feel the impact you have. You are allowed to carry the certainty that what you awakened in them will echo forward, whether you ever speak about it or not. This is the power of authentic presence. This is what it means to affect someone at soul level. Let that land in you, not as something to prove, but as something you already are, something that was always true. And so you move forward knowing this, carrying this truth with you, not as something to achieve, but as something you already are. I want to repeat that. The connection was never broken. The impact was never diminished. The frequency you carry will continue to resonate in them, whether they acknowledge it or not. That's your power. That's what you offered them, whether they are ready to receive it or not. And now you know. You always know. Always will be know.